This episode contains spoilers for Tomb Raider and Rise of the Tomb Raider. Hello and welcome to the first Push to Smart episode of the year. Woo! This week, we're going to be having a little water cooler discussion on Rise of the Tomb Raider, the sequel to one of my Game of the Year picks for 2013, which was the reboot of Tomb Raider. This game, a bit of a spoiler, is definitely going to be on my Game of the Year list, but there are some caveats to that I definitely wanted to talk about in the water cooler.
Yeah.
As with the original, I know that you weren't as big a fan of it as I was.
Correct.
What is your main takeaway from this one?
That's the thing, because spoiler from my Game of the Year list, and I'll be upfront with this, I love the crap out of Assassin's Creed Syndicate, and as I was playing this game, I was so mad at the story and how much it retreaded from the last game. And the reason I bring up my Game of the Year is an Assassin's Creed game is because I realize that is really hypocritical. So I just want to forefront with that. It's hard to play this game without putting it in conversation with the Uncharted series.
Especially this game.
Yeah.
It definitely felt like this game, they were trying to make a female Nathan Drake, which is something that kept popping up, which frustrates me because I feel like Lara is such a distinct character from Nathan, and she was there before him.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, one of the things that struck me during the promotional campaign for this was that the main, I guess, driving aesthetic difference between Uncharted and Tomb Raider at this point is that Tomb Raider has somehow emerged completely humorless. Mm-hmm. Like, it is all about realism and this grit. And even though the game itself isn't totally like that, whereas Uncharted is a lot more charming. It's Indiana Jones, like, via Joss Whedon. But there's a few beats in particular in this game where I kept thinking of Uncharted 2, especially when she comes up on the village. Mm-hmm. And I kept thinking, like, okay, I like exploring in this game, but, like, this doesn't why doesn't this have the same emotional pull that coming across the village in Uncharted 2 did? Like, what is different here? I think it's because the first game ended with Lara getting her 2 pistols. And it seemed to be like, okay, this is the Lara Croft origin story. Now she's going to go off and raid tombs. Mm-hmm. This game is like a second origin story.
Yeah.
And it's like they don't have, like, Lara, she has the beginnings of a really cool character. And I cannot stress enough how much I love that there is a system in place to track her proficiency in ancient Greek. Mm-hmm. But they don't have confidence in her. And they don't have confidence that we would believe that she'd want to go on this. So they keep having to, like...
rationalize
why she's here. Where it should just be, she's a huge fucking nerd.
Yeah.
And she wants to be here, and that should be enough. And instead we're giving these really dire, really silly stakes.
And these ridiculous plot points.
Like, you know nothing about Anna, but as soon as she comes up in a particular scene, you're like, oh, well, she's going to be evil by the end of this scene.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I think that's the core of it, and why this game is so frustrating to me, is it seems like it doesn't have confidence in its hero, in your ability to identify and want to be that hero, and in the world itself. It's just, ugh.
I do think it is a retread of the origin story, and I don't think that she needs 2 origin stories, but I do think that this is a better origin story than the first Tomb Raider, because it does start with her seeking out adventure instead of stumbling upon disaster and becoming a survivor.
Yeah.
The marketing for this game just is all over the place and really bothers me because, they made a deal out of, learning languages and the archaeological aspect. And I do really love the tombs. I think they really upped their game. They were a lot more creative and fun to take part in. And I also like that in this game, she doesn't have that weird father figure that she's trying to saves her. And instead, it's very much about the shadow of her father looms over her and stepping out and finding your own place in that. And I did like how she kind of, how they had Jacob and Sophia to kind of mirror that. Because at the end of the game, once Jacob's dead, Sophia's like, well, I'm the leader now. I liked parts of it, but there's so much freaking combat and
it's the same combat, because there was a point where I'm running and I'm like, I'm in a snowy Soviet era base again. Didn't I just end the last game here? Like, it's the exact same environments, which is another thing, thinking back to Uncharted 2 versus Uncharted 1. Like, Uncharted 2 led us, like, to so many different environments, and here it was the same ones that we had seen before. To your point about Jacob and his daughters mirroring Lara's story, I just don't think any of that worked for me, like, at all.
I like the idea. I don't think the execution was that good. Because, you know, her father is literally immortal, as opposed to... you know, the immortal memory of Mr. Croft. I like the parallels, but they just didn't really connect because, I don't know, they were trying to think of too many enemies or something. But I will say, though, I do like that they kind of diversified Lara's arsenal so that combat at least could be faster. So, like, poison clouds that take out multiple people, bombs, those kind of things.
But at the same time, I found myself relying on the exact same things the entire time. Like, I use poison arrows throughout the entire game, almost exclusively. A lot of nitpicks.
No, but that is the thing, is because it's a very important game. And so the nitpicking is necessary, I think.
This is the second in 2 games where it's been a story about her getting out of the shadow of daddy. And then, so it's like, if we're just going to get stuck on this, why don't we just trash the story and just make it about exploring tombs or raiding tombs, one might even say.
I don't know. I had a lot of fun playing it, but it is still, at the end of the day, a very frustrating overall package.
I will say one of the other things when you're talking about the the promotional campaign leading up to this, one of the things that, and this is not necessarily the developer's fault, this is totally marketers gone rogue, but the whole, another thing I kept thinking about was the whole E3 thing where they kept talking about how realism was so important and how realistic, because it has all the same problems every post-Uncharted game has. Every character besides Lara looks really cartoony. There's some hilariously bad hugging animations going on. Like, there's a lot of weird, like, unnatural movements. And then, like, I don't know if you have encountered this, but I felt like it wasn't consistent or very good at communicating distance. So, like, there were some things where I thought she'd make this for sure and she'd miss. And then other things that seemed like she would never have to make it. And then it would be the only place to be able to go.
Yeah.
So, again, like, that's kind of par for the course. But just because there is all that talk about realism, it just, like, kind of shot themselves in the foot, I feel like. And again, not developers' fault.
And another thing about the lead up to this game. They did make a thing about how, like, oh, you can be stealthy this time. No, you cannot. I tried, and it sucked. Well, part
of it, too, is, like, she has her version of eagle vision. And it doesn't detect people. Unless, like,
I think it can if you, like, upgrade a certain skill tree or something. There are parts that I just really liked. Like, there's that one scene where Jacob and Lara are in the prison cell, and he's like, you're not going to get far without me. And she's like, you don't know how far I've come. I loved that little small bit.
I hated that.
Really?
It's not so much that. It felt very, like...
strong female protagonist.
Well, like that, but then, like, too, because she's like, oh, I can't trust anyone. I was just betrayed by this woman who, trust me, was, like, super important. I know we didn't communicate that to you, but just trust me, it's true. And it's like, oh my god, this feels so contrived just to get, like, we know you're gonna trust him. Like...
yeah. You're kind of on your own.
Yeah, and, like, this is, like... just stop. Go read tombs. Go study Greek.
The cast in the first game was so much more interesting, and the only one you see is Jonah.
Who almost dies again.
Yes.
Again.
He's a very lovable character, but why didn't we see Sam, who was so huge in the first game?
Her gal pal.
Gals being pals. Raiding tombs. Yeah.
Why is any of this happening? Is what I'm wondering.
Why did you make this game?
Well, like, I just... like, I was so... like, I keep coming back to the Greek thing, but I was so tickled when I got an alert saying, you don't know, like, enough ancient Greek to read this. I was like, yes! Taking it back to another Uncharted comparison, one of the things Uncharted never really got right was the journal. Because it acted as a way for Nathan Drake to kind of, like, take notes on his discoveries, but it never really... like, you had no reason to ever access it except for very specific periods where buttons pops up saying, access that journal you forgot about. And later it serves a kind of funny character stuff. And I feel like stuff like finding the treasure in this game kind of reconciles that a little bit, because you get it informs Lara's character, I guess, more actively. It's more in your face. She gets so nerdy and excited about things she finds, and I love the observations she has. And I don't understand why that's not what's driving the game. Because
it's not gritty enough. It's not real enough.
It's not real.
That's the thing, is like, she has this character, and when it comes out, it's
and
fantastic.
She's so likable.
Yeah. But, it's not about Lara being likable or being a fully realized character. It's about, look at her mowing down these guys and saving the day.
Strong female character.
Yeah. Like I said, I had a lot of fun, like, playing the game. There's so much missed potential. And again, it's because there aren't many games like this where you have a playable female character, but like who's headlining and who has this big media campaign push.
Yeah.
And so, it's difficult when you have to put all those eggs in one basket, But
is it, though? Like, it's in the name. If they just focus on the fucking tombs,
yeah,
it would be fine. Like, I don't know who it is that's like, no, we gotta shoot dudes. Like, that is central to the tomb raiding experience.
She has to, like, break her arm and set it.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like a victim of trying to follow trends in a lot of ways. Like, okay, we have to have this weird multiplayer aspect with, like, cards and things.
Oh my god, I did not understand that.
Neither did I. And then it's like, okay, and we have to have shooting because games are all about shooting. And it's like, you go to the first Tomb Raider, which was a huge success, and there were, like, 10 enemies, maybe.
But that's okay. Shooting is a big part of Lara Croft. She's always with her two guns.
Yeah.
Except for in this game. But just, like, instead of having her mow down, like, random cult people, again, dinosaurs.
I know, T-Rexes. I'm ready.
You have 20 years worth of stuff you could be mining here. Yeah, and we're stuck on cults.
We're stuck on cults, and I don't know. I just want the next game to be like, everybody knows she's capable.
Yeah,
she's
exactly.
Smart. She can use two guns at once, and she's the motherfucking Tomb Raider.
That's what I thought this game was going to be after the last game, because the last game, that big hurrah moment at the very end is her with her two pistols in slow-mo, and it's like, this is it.
And then they're like, wait, that didn't happen. Not yet.
That's not believable. That's not realistic.
But I feel like this always happens. Like, I get so excited, and then I play it, and it's not terrible, but...
Yeah, I felt that way about a lot of games recently. It's like,
That's what makes my Game of the Year choices so difficult, is because I enjoyed playing a lot of games. I feel like this wasn't the year of the story.
Yeah, at least not in AAA.
Yeah.
Have I ruined it for you? I hope not.
I don't think so.
Good.
Because, like, I still enjoy the time I had with it. I do think that, I mean, this is how I felt at the end of the last game, but I'm like, next time.
Yeah, I know. That's what I felt too. Again, like, the image of her with the two guns sticks out, because that was the moment where it's like, oh, okay, that's what they're doing. I just had to slog through this, and now she'll be a Tomb Raider. But
if it does turn out that her father's alive and is the one who shot Anna at the end, I'm gonna be like, A, I called it, and B, that's just boring. So yeah, that does it for our water cooler discussion on Rise of the Tomb Raider. Next time, we're going to be talking about our Game of the Year. So we want to know your top pick for Game of the Year and why. Let us know in the comments. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to keep up to date on all of our latest episodes and water cooler discussions.
Part of creating the most realistic character that we possibly can